Hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. So I wanted to first, before I started this, issue an apology to everybody who was in my live this morning because there was terrible background noise, and I don't know why it was so loud because I was in the other room and the TV wasn't even turned up. Like, it was turned down really low. I don't understand why it sounded like it was so loud. Like, it sounded louder on my computer than it did in real life. So I'm really sorry about that. That was not, that did not turn out good. And then at the end, I was trying to put out some information about Oakley Snow, and all the ads were playing. And so I turned the volume down on my computer, and while it was recording through StreamYard, it still picked up that volume and it just recorded over everything. And I didn't know, and I didn't listen to it first. I just went live with it because I thought everything went fine. So I didn't think I had to listen to it, but apparently I should have because it was not good. So from now on, that was a lesson to me. I will just wait until baby's taking a nap, or if not, then turn the TV off and listen to it first and make sure it sounds okay before I put it out. So again, I apologize for that. That was not cool, and I will redo that live about that I did this morning. So again, I apologize for that. All right. So this intro All right. Real quick. This is Noel Rodriguez Alvarez. I just wanted to show this really quick because this is the live I did that I had to delete because the background noise was just ridiculous. And then the ads at the end just totally crashed the whole live. This is Noel Rodriguez Alvarez. He's 6 years old. He's missing from North Texas, and his family reportedly has fled the country. They left on an international flight before an Amber Alert was issued, which was later canceled and turned into an endangered missing person alert. He is disabled. He has severe disabilities. He has chronic lung disease. He needs treatment, and he hasn't been seen since November of 2022. He could be anywhere, Everman police say. They seek the public's help in finding him. All right. So he'll get a live. I'll do another live for him too. All right. Smiley goes live and gets a call from Don Wells on Summer's birthday this year. I really don't think she was expecting him to actually call in, and she wasn't ready for it when it happened, like emotionally ready for it. But I can't speak for her, which I don't blame her. I don't think I could have held it down like that. It would have turned out bad. But she kept him on the phone for a while. She didn't get cussed at or hung up on. She got cussed too a lot. But Not like I probably would have, or like some people sometimes do. Only because I would have asked some questions that would have upset him and probably got him going. You know what I mean? He says hello. Smiley says hello and asks how he's doing, and Don says he's just aggravated and is sick of all the bullshit, all the lies and accusations. And trigger warning, guys, there's some foul language in this. This is supposed to be about my daughter, says Don. So right out of the gate, Don is being negative and saying he is sick of people accusing him and Candace of doing something to their daughter, basically, is how I took that. In a way, making it about himself. Okay, Don. So the call begins with Don being defensive, saying it's supposed to be about his daughter, yet not saying her name and not making it about her himself. Don goes on. Everybody wants to turn it around and make it into some big ol' what the hell ever, you know? Yeah, I'm really aggravated. If he's so aggravated, then why doesn't he give a specific example or something of some things that people have done or are saying that he is so aggravated over? But he doesn't. He just makes a blanket statement. It's just to make him look like a victim, in my opinion. Also, a way to deflect from any of his own wrongdoings. Smiley says she understands. Don says I'm missing my daughter, the love of my life, my little girl. Everybody wants to make it into whatever. That's their problem, not mine. I know where I stand with my daughter. All them haters can do whatever they want. That's their prerogative. Well, Don, what exactly do you consider haters? Because of a lot of us YouTubers that you call haters have shown more love for your daughter than her own mother has, in my opinion. And the love you have shown for your daughter seems fake to me. I'll say it. I'm not saying you had no love for your daughter at all. I'm saying I think that you overplayed how much you love and cared for Summer, and it makes it look like you really didn't know her that well, and you really weren't there emotionally for her because you seem fake about it. To me, that's just my opinion. Because why would you have to say, for example, how much Summer didn't want her mother and how much she only wanted you for the first year and a half of her life? Like, you really had to reinforce that. Did you make Summer that way, Don? Did you train Summer to only want you? Then it got to be too much after she got into her terrible twos and you let her mom have her? Just a question. Not trying to sound nasty. I seriously wonder that. And this is why I could not interview Don, because I would ask questions like that. Don says he's here to find Summer. He will be here. Smiley says she understands and it's his right to be angry, which of course it is Don's right to be angry, and I'm sure Smiley was biting her tongue on a lot of things here. Again, I can't speak for her, but it's funny how he's so angry. People are talking shit about him, but where's the anger towards the alleged abductor? Don is always so mad about people saying things that he thinks are against him and his family, even if they're really not. And he spends so much time speaking on that, more time than he spends speaking on Summer, and has so much anger towards these YouTubers, towards the ones asking the hard questions, towards the one that wants to find Summer seemingly more than he does. Yet where's the real anger towards the person who he is so sure has took Summer on June 15th, 2021? Don says he's just tired of all the haters and the YouTubers, all the people that make money off my daughter. Well, we ain't made a dime. As a matter of fact, we have lost so much. Don says it shouldn't be that way, but that's just the way it is. You can't sit there and talk shit about me and make up all kinds of lies about me and stuff. I'm out there watching that. Now, you all will probably notice this isn't verbatim because of the fact that there were a few words I just simply, no matter what way I tried to or how hard I tried, I could just not make out. So I made sense of it the best I could for you on those parts. Smiley says, I understand that and I have questions. Don says, I'm here to answer questions all day long. I've been here for 2 years now. TBI, the police, and all these fake-ass YouTuber people and whatever, I'm here. I'm still standing. I'm ready to answer whatever. So he's been answering many of the same questions over and over. I would ask him a question that he has said 2 different answers to and ask him to clarify. Like, for example, was he or was he not on the phone with Candace the whole way home on June 15th, 2021? I think Smiley's interview went exactly how it was supposed to go. I'm not saying she should have done anything differently. I'm just saying that's something I would want to have asked Don personally. Don says the reason and the only reason I'm doing this is for my daughter's sake. Well, Don, I'm not gonna lie. It seems like you're doing it for your own sake, to be honest. People that want to stir up drama, whatever, man. I'm here. Ask away, says Don. Smiley says, I understand. That's the way it should be. But again, I have questions. And I wanted to bring up my medical records too, because as you see, I said I don't feel like unless people been through this, that they don't have a right to say anything. And I have been through this, and I have at 40 years old had open heart surgery, and I do know what I'm speaking of, and I do have questions. And you're not always going to get the easy questions, Don, says Smiley. Don says, well, that's fine. I'm right here. I've been answering so many questions, like hundreds of people every day. If it ain't the police, it's the YouTubers. I'm trying my best. He says 1 million people, well, not 1 million, but a lot are on Messenger asking questions. And I try to answer back, I don't know why. I'm just hoping to enlighten people and, to help people understand, what exactly is going on here. We're fighting for our lives, not only for our daughter, but for our boys. CPS took advantage of our situation and it's bullshit, Don says. Smiley says, since you brought that up, can I ask you if, and I know you said that you'd think, and your words were, I might have sounded mean, that you thought they kidnapped your boys and that's how you feel. And I understand that. And I can understand that's how I would feel if it was me. But at the same time, and she was probably about to make a good point, and then Don interrupts her and he says something about Candace, I think. Let's just forget about all that stuff. Let's just talk about the facts. The state of Tennessee alone, just Tennessee, gets $1.3 billion a year to keep kids in state custody, says Don. How does Don know this, and where did he get this information? Don continues. When they diagnose them, being the kids, with ADHD and all this other stuff, that's more money. I think kids don't get diagnosed with something by a doctor so that someone else gets paid for it. It's probably happened, but it's not something that regularly happens, not that I'm aware of. If that is happening and it's this bad, something seriously needs to be done. Don says special classes and all this other stuff. Like, oh, they need help. They need special classes. They need speech classes, which they got every bit of it. Why does it seem like the way Don says this, that he doesn't believe his sons have special educational needs, that it seems they clearly do have? It's not uncommon and it's nothing to be ashamed of. And the way Don acts about it makes it seem like he thinks it's a problem and he doesn't think his son has that problem, which it's not a problem. The only problem would be if it's true that Don is thinking that way. Don goes on. This is information we found that other people already put out there. We're just jumping on the bandwagon. We didn't put all this information out there. Everything that they said was exactly what they were doing with our boys. They diagnosed all 3 of our boys with all kinds of bullcrap. They're all 3 on medications, so that's more money. If they can keep them in the system their whole life, going into juvie and eventually prison, then basically they're federal money their entire lifetime, which is wrong, when they should be home with their family and working through these issues with us. We're missing our daughter, man, and well, they've been through so much trauma, they don't need to be talking to you. That's bullshit, man. Okay, Don. First of all, the fact that your sons need medication should be a serious matter to you. You seem to look at it as an issue instead of accepting it for what it is and working through it. Is it easier that way, or do you have too much pride to admit that nobody is perfect? Not even your sons, or mine, or anyone's, because nobody is perfect. So your sons have to be put on meds for issues that we would never discuss here, but that should be something you also should want to keep private. in my opinion, especially considering the judge doesn't want you talking about your boys. The boys are only federal money if that's how you look at it. Maybe the family they are with actually loves them and wants them to succeed in life. You can at least hope for that instead of standing on defense and letting your pride stand in the way and just assuming it's something terrible. Maybe you could let your guard down a little and admit you have a problem or two and work on your problems and maintain a better life. And maybe one day your sons will see you at least tried for them, and that is all you can do for them at this point if they want nothing to do with you. And I'm not saying that they want nothing to do with you. I'm saying if. This is all just my opinion here. The boys have probably been through so much trauma because of what you put them through, Don. That's my opinion. Smiley says, but didn't you say in the beginning that you wanted them away from there so they could be safer? Which honestly, that's exactly what I was thinking. All the YouTubers and all these fake search teams and the so-called psychics come to your house every day and stuff. The danger was real at first. Yes, ma'am, it really was. It was bad. I wonder what they were doing that was dangerous. I'm not saying unsafe things didn't happen. I'm just curious. I would love an example. He says these people are relentless. They don't know when to stop. It was a bad situation up there. It was. But I understand things differently now. I didn't understand what was going on. It was a whole whirlwind. It was horrible. At first, I didn't want my boys here around that situation because it was horrific. It really was. And I didn't know if someone was going to come up here and try and take my boys too, or what was going on. I don't know who took Summer, and we still don't. And I was scared for their lives. Yes, ma'am. I wonder if this is an attempt to make it sound like this is why the boys were removed, because he says that. I have heard him say that. Smiley says, I was going to ask you the way that you feel that they've been kidnapped, your boys. I understand that, and I can play a double-edged sword, but why did you not beat the police's door down, say they kidnapped your daughter, Summer? I mean, can you tell me why you didn't do that or go to the news? Don says I tried everything to talk to the police. Thanks to my stepsister's bullshit, of course, he's going to throw that in there. They were talking to them about me for a long time. They turned the entire investigation on me. I think, Don, you did that on your own. They threw the whole investigation off because they wanted the focus to be on them and all these crazy allegations. I mean, if you want to go there, we can go down that road too, and we can talk about every bit of it. Don, you always have to bring up your stepsisters when talking about Summer. Why is that? Why can't you have some grace about the situation? You're always so nasty towards them, and they don't deserve that. I'm sorry to them for that. How embarrassing to have Don as your stepbrother that violated you as a child, then admitted it as an adult during the disappearance of his own 5-year-old daughter, and then has the nerve to just talk about them in this manner. Don continues, when I was a kid and I was growing up in the situation with living with my stepbrothers and sisters and all this stuff going on and all this crazy stuff back in the 70s, we was all fucked up, to be honest with you. I wasn't the only one effed up. Right there, in a way, that's Don saying it without saying it, that he did abuse his stepsisters, but he's saying he wasn't the only one that did effed up shit. Smiley says, yeah, I would rather just, if you can, my audience is saying just stay on Summer, because it's about Summer. And Don says, it is about Summer. It ain't about all this other bullshit. It's about Summer, man. We got to find her. And you know, when I'm so afraid that some meth addict, psycho son of a bitch seen her and grabbed her and dragged her off, and who knows what happened. And I've been imagining all kinds of scenarios, and it breaks my heart because she's such a beautiful little angel that didn't deserve this at all. See, Don, if you do know where Summer is and for some reason you're not telling anybody, you would say things like this a lot, like you do. So as to plant the idea in the minds of the public that there could have been some sicko druggie that did something to her and hurt her, because then the blame would be on them and not you, Don, because people would think you did it, or because you did it, in my opinion. Smiley says, no, she didn't deserve this. Which brings me to wonder, did you think, I mean, you was at work, but could there have been an accident? And I'm not trying to blame Candace or anybody in the house, but do you think that it could have been any kind of accident that somebody's just scared to? Don interrupts again. No, the police, they come up with this scenario over and over again. Well, I promise you, if there was some kind of accident, well, number one, Candace would have called an ambulance or rushed her to a hospital very fast. See, Candace is like most women, man. It's like the Wild West. You pull a gun out real quick. Women are like that with their phone. And Candace has no problem calling 911 on me. So why wouldn't she if something happened to Summer? Would she do it to protect somebody else? Smiley asks. Don says, seriously? Her beautiful little daughter? No way. No way. That concerns me because he overdoes it and it is very extra. That's always a red flag to me when people are extra. He says, man, you gotta think. Well, we won't go there. Anyway, ask away. I really want to know what Don was going to say. If he was just trying to quick change the subject from there being an accident and what Candace would do, but he didn't know how to follow through with what he was going to say, so he just was like, oh, never mind. Then asks for more questions to change the subject. Smiley says, I have 4 boys, and I just know sometimes you can be so scared, you know. Don says, well, if something happens and you don't call the police right away, then what? Then basically, I mean, are you scared or what? Well, yeah, Don, obviously people don't call 911 because they're scared of getting found out for what they really are and for going to prison and for facing the truth. Are you afraid of that, Don? Don says, I don't get that. I don't understand that question. It's not you. I know it's people that ask that, and that's what they think, and I get that and understand where they're coming from, but there's no way Candace would do something like that. She would be the first one to call 911 if there was some kind of accident. She would not be trying to hide it. Smiley says, you don't have to prove anything. It's not me you have to prove anything to. You don't need to prove anything to any of these YouTubers. Don says, you all haters out there, you know what? You know what I got to say to you? I'm not even going to say it. You already know what I got to say to you. You think you know all. Okay, now listen to this. Young little punks out there that your mama is paying all your bills and shit and sending you away to college and everything. You know what I've got to say to you little mother effers? Well, Don, I would love to know who you are talking about. Because I don't know anyone like that their mommy sends them off to college and pays all their bills and that they sit on YouTube. Who are you talking about? Anyways, Smiley says, okay, do you think it was somebody that had been in and out of your house that you know? Don says, no way. We didn't have people up there, which none of us should believe, in my opinion. I think they had all kinds of people up there. We didn't even want to know the people around this area. My only family was Tucker Drywall, and they all disowned me. That was the only family that I've ever had. My family is in Utah, and they all disowned me, so I basically don't have no family, you know? Well, Don, why were you disowned? What did you do that was so bad that your 2 different families have disowned you? Because you can't blame that on the actions of YouTubers, in my opinion. Some of the good people out there that believe in us, I have to give props to, says Don. I thank you from the bottom of our heart, Don says. So if you support what they say and do, aka enable them, he thanks you. Smiley says I fell in love with Summer day one, and I try to stay on it, and I try to do the right thing. I don't get money on it. I just recently put my Cash App out, and I don't monetize, and I haven't. Don says, really, it's more of an ego thing. With all of us, really, Don says. Well, Don, maybe it is for you. That's not the case with me or probably several others that surround me and most of the people that surround them, too. If I had to guess, it's not about ego to us. They just want to keep drama going, says Don. Smiley says she's getting lost in the shuffle. There's nothing more that I want than for her to be found and be alive. Don says she was everything to me. She was our world. Don says he has to let God handle it. I think he says something about not being able to go there, about saying she is no longer with us. Smiley says, why did you say you would see her in the resurrection just a couple days in? It was almost like you knew she was. Don interrupts. Says, at the same time, I was really heavy into church. Go figure. And I was just like, if worst comes to worst, I'll see you in the resurrection. But right now, I'll follow God, I think, he says. Don says, I don't know if I care anymore. And he doesn't know if he will even make it to the resurrection, he says. Smiley says, well, you can't give up. Don says, I was trying not to. I really am, but I'm just so devastated. And Candace, I'm glad she's got some support. People support her, which eventually helps her health because so many people tore her heart up, I think he says. Very hard to understand there. Don goes on, and I understand that. I'm a good person, and I was so devastated and so tied up in the loss of everything in my life, especially my kid, that could cause me to have a massive heart attack or stroke. That's what's going on with Candace. So Don is saying all the stress from YouTubers is causing Candace to be at higher risk for heart attack or stroke. Well, in that case, we will quit asking you where Summer is since it bothers you so much, Candace. Actually, we won't quit asking. I won't attack you, but I will always ask you, where is Summer Moon Utah Wells? Smiley said, somebody's asking, did you have the gag order in place still? I mean, I know you don't care, but, which it really seems like Don doesn't care, but I guess since he's not saying their names, he thinks it's okay to talk about them, which he actually does say Josie's name, I think, but anyways. Don says, I care. I don't want to disrespect the courts. Don't get me wrong. A judge can throw my ass in jail, and there's not a lot I can do about it. I'm just so fed up with the bullshit, the lies, the drama, all this crap. Smiley looks like she's about to cry. Smiley said, this is not how I expected this to go tonight. I was not expecting you to call, and this is very hard for me. Don says, well, imagine how hard this is for Summer. Yeah, Don, imagine how Summer feels right now. Imagine how Summer felt her whole life growing up roughing it. Smiley says my question I was going with this because I don't think a lot of people knew and might have, and I got a picture here I can show. It doesn't matter because you're on the phone. You can verify it and show the picture later. Can I ask you? And that's one reason I brought up my medical records. I can verify, Don. They do not do this with heart patients. And I know you're going to get mad at me, and that's fine because I'm here for Summer. Well, let's get the script out, man. The truth is what matters. Bring it, says Don. Don, is that what you just said? Let's get the script out? You know that sounds really bad, right? I wonder if he said that on purpose to get people riled up. Smiley says, okay, I'm not saying she don't have a heart problem, okay? Don says, oh, I know she has a heart problem. Smiley says, and I know she was born with one. That's not what I'm saying at all. I think what Smiley is saying is, was she actively having heart problems? Smiley asks, why were y'all at a children's hospital in the picture with the balloons? Don says the children's hospital is right next door to the hospital we were at. We walked out and put the balloons out. I know Josie was in there, meaning in the children's hospital when he was younger. My oldest son, Don says. He almost died. He went septic. We took him to Kingsport 3 times and they couldn't figure out what was going on with him. When he got to the hospital, we were at Niswander Children's Hospital, right next to the main hospital in Johnson City, right? Don is kind of hard to follow, but he's just saying the children's hospital is right across from the regular hospital in Johnson City. Smiley says, okay. Don says they saved his life, actually. They really did. Well, thank God for that. Poor Josie. Don says, I was there that night for his emergency surgery. That hospital in Johnson City is right next to the children's hospital. So Don wants credit for being there for his son, it sounds like. So good job, Don. You did what a dad is supposed to do. Smiley says, she wasn't aware that there was an adult cardiac unit there. Don says he doesn't know. He was just there to visit Candace. I could be wrong, Smiley says. Don says we can all be wrong. Smiley says that's where I was going with that. But like I said, I wouldn't wish heart problems at anybody. I wish her well if she does have to have surgery and everything like that, but at the same token, and she is interrupted again by Don. He says, I really think most of this is brought on by stress. Don wants people to take it easy on Candace because of her heart problems. Well, Don, you don't have heart problems. Why don't you take on the hard questions without turning into a madman? Don goes on. I said in 1998, I was in prison. It sounds like he says he had a massive heart attack, or maybe he said he could have had a massive heart attack and needed medical professionals, but they don't give a F in prison. Smiley says, but do you know why they didn't put a gown on her? Because usually that's the first thing they do, so they don't, for legal reasons. Smiley was, and for, because that's what they need to do. They need to have you in a gown so they can properly work. And if something were to happen because they didn't have you in a gown, they could legally be responsible for that. So of course they're going to make sure you're in a gown. Smiley was set on figuring out why Candace wasn't in the gown. She probably wasn't admitted. I don't know. Don says, I have no idea about that. Smiley says, they would take your hat off and all that off and put you in a gown kindly if you didn't do it yourself. Which she's probably right on that because they don't want to be liable if something goes wrong because you weren't in a gown. Don says she has a heart monitor on her chest that sticks with some kind of sticky tape. Don says he tries to keep Candace tough because she is tough. She can do things on the job with him that he says most people can't do. I don't doubt that Candace is tough. I'm sure she is. She probably has to be with the lifestyle that she lives with you, Don. Unfortunately. She probably doesn't have much of a choice but to be tough. You know what I mean? Honestly. All right. Okay, let's see if I can get this to work better this time. All right. Family of missing 6-year-old left Texas on international flight before Amber Alert was issued. Okay. There's all the officers at the press conference, which if you didn't see the press conference and listen to that yet, please listen to that. It says police in Everman, Texas are searching for any leads to help them find 6-year-old Noel Rodriguez Alvarez, who hasn't been seen since November of 2022. In an update Monday, police said the child is still missing. The family of a 6-year-old boy missing since November left the U.S. on a Turkish Airways flight without him just 2 days before an Amber Alert was issued, which was then turned into, which the Amber Alert was canceled, and then there was an endangered missing persons alert issued for him. Everman police said at a news conference Sunday. There he is. Very cute. And he is disabled. He has chronic lung disease. He's got some other issues going on too. Yeah, he's considered an endangered missing person. Police issued an Amber Alert just after midnight Saturday morning and replaced it with an endangered missing persons alert around 9 p.m. Saturday. Noel Rodriguez Alvarez, who has serious disabilities, including a chronic lung disease that requires medical treatment and occasional oxygen treatment, is still missing. An investigation into Noel's whereabouts started on March 20th when Child Protective Services received an anonymous tip that Noel hadn't been seen since November 2022. When they began investigating, Everman Police and Child Protective Services found that other family members hadn't seen Noel or his siblings. When Everman Police spoke with Cindy Rodriguez Singh, Noel's mother, she told them the 6-year-old was in Mexico with his father, according to police. So she lied and said he's in Mexico with his father. Investigators with CPS spoke to Noel's biological father, who told them he never had the opportunity to even meet Noel because he was deported before his son was even born. The Department of Homeland Security confirmed his statement. So this girl's lying and she's not cooperating. She's in a different country and they don't even know if she's in India or Turkey. All right. On March 23rd, police and CPS investigators learned that Noel's 4 siblings, aged 7 to 11, had been absent after the mother contacted their school in Everman to ask about unenrollment, according to police. Noel was not enrolled in school, according to police. His mother had custody of all 7 of her children, including Noel's half-siblings, who are 5-month-old twins. Rodriguez Singh could not be reached again by police or CPS and seemed to be avoiding authorities, prompting an investigation into Noel's whereabouts. Police said Sunday they are unable to release specific details about CPS investigations, but could confirm that there have been prior investigations and actions against Rodriguez Singh. She also had an extensive criminal history involving alcohol-related offenses. An Amber Alert for Noel was issued just after midnight on Saturday morning, but when police learned that Rodriguez Singh left the U.S. with her husband and all her children except Noel on March 23rd flight to Istanbul, Turkey, the alert was changed to endangered missing person. The mother's 2012 Chevy Silverado truck was found at the DFW airport, police said. Everman Police Chief Craig Spencer said Sunday that police do not have any physical evidence related to Noel's status as a missing person. What I do know is that a 6-year-old severely disabled boy cannot be accounted for and is missing. The mother has not been willing to cooperate with investigators to help us simply assure the child is safe, and we desperately need the public's help, he said. Police are asking anybody with information on Noel's whereabouts to contact them by calling 817-293-2923. Police are expected to give another update around 3:30 p.m. Monday. On Monday afternoon, police were seen searching in the backyard of the family's home on Wisteria Drive, which is a smaller home in the yard behind another house. Children's bikes and a toy car were outside. Authorities towed a vehicle that was in the driveway. So I wonder, they must be going through these vehicles then. And, actually someone was in my chat earlier, and said that they were, so they are. They probably towed that vehicle to take it in for hopefully some kind of evidence that's going to help them find Noel. Police had a cadaver dog at the house Monday afternoon, but it did not alert to any evidence of a body during the search, thank God, according to Spencer, who was at the home with other officers. There's a good picture of him. All right. Spencer said after the news conference that investigators are staying optimistic about Noel's well-being. They have no evidence that he's been harmed and hope that he is with friends or a family member they have not yet found who don't realize he is considered missing and in danger. Police, CPS, and the Department of Homeland Security are working together to try to find out if Rodriguez Singh and the rest of the family stopped in Turkey or if their flight connected to India, where Rodriguez Singh's husband is from. Spencer said they don't know of any official connections to the Turkish government that could aid in locating or detaining Rodriguez Singh for questioning. But an arrest warrant has been issued for the mother on a charge of filing a false report with police. All right, let's see. I'm seeing if I can find something really quick that I wanted to show you. All right, maybe not. That's okay. All right. So, we're going to pray for Summer Wells and that we find answers, and we'll go back over. I'll go keep going with this, and we'll do another video to finish off the call with Smiley and Dawn. So it's not too long all in one video, because unfortunately I like to try to keep them at an hour because that's about all the time I get to myself at once. I don't really get much more time to myself at once than that, besides at night, and that's when I do work. So I'll be working on stuff at night, and then I can come live during the day for about an hour. I can record it, and then I have about an hour to be live. So recording it takes time, obviously, and then when I go live, I'm just in the chat, and that's nice to be able to be in the chat. I love that format. You just pay for StreamYard, pay for like the extra recording time or whatever, and yeah, you can do that. So it's actually nice, because then if something goes wrong and I have to end it because of the kids or something, then it's no biggie. I can just re-record it. So, but then, once in a while you have mistakes like what happened earlier, and we all make mistakes once in a while. It happens. Did you guys check Trev Time last night? He had a really good live. He's been doing a lot of really good lives. If you guys haven't checked out Trev Time, which I'm sure you probably all have, I would definitely go over there, because he's been putting out some really good content. I really enjoy it. I really enjoy Josh at the lab too. He's been putting out some really good content too. And I really miss Angel Talks Too Fast. I really miss her. And I hope she's better soon. And I hope she can get back to normal soon for her sake and do what she needs to do and take her time doing it. But I hope she gets to come back soon, because we all really miss her. To find you, Appalachian princess. Can't look away, Appalachian princess. Too beautiful to say, Appalachian princess. But you got gone away, Appalachian princess. We will figure out a way to get you out of this mess. Can't shut me up, I will be here fighting. Can't brush me off, we're thunder and lightning. She goes, we follow, not scared of no hollow. We want you to stay, Appalachian princess. But you got gone away, Appalachian princess. We will figure out a way to get you out of this mess. They thought it could hide our Appalachia princess. But we're here to find you, Appalachia princess. Can't look away, Appalachia princess. Too beautiful to say, Appalachia princess. Can't shut me up, I will be here fighting. Can't brush me off with thunder and lightning. She goes, we follow, not scared of no hollow. We want you to stay, Appalachian princess. But you got gone away, Appalachian princess. We'll figure out a way to get you out of this mess. They thought they could hire Appalachian princess, but we're here to find you, Appalachian princess. Can't look away, Appalachian princess. Too beautiful to say, Appalachian princess. Appalachian princess. Thanks for being here with me, guys. I appreciate you all always coming in for summer and coming and talking about summer and helping keep her name out there after all this time. And I still see so many of the same names all the time that I've seen for so long. And I just feel like I almost know you, some of you in a way, and I really appreciate the fact that we can all come together and be a voice for a child that doesn't have a voice. And it chokes you up thinking about it too much, you know. And it's something that every day that, you know, thinking about every day, and it's such a heavy weight to constantly think about all the time, wanting these children to be found and missing someone you've never even met. And but you guys all understand that and you feel that, and it's good to be around like-minded people like that, and people that actually care and want to make a difference. And I thank you for that. Thank you for being who you are and trying to make a difference. It's a tough world. Keep your head up, and I will talk to you guys soon. All right. Love you guys. Much love. Oh, here comes the kitty. All right.